One of the most misquoted sayings in business is if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. This statement is meant to say that to improve something, we need a precise metric that captures it and that should be tracked in order to understand if our efforts to improve it are actually effective. It's interesting that this quote is actually the complete opposite of what W. Edwards Demings originally said. He said, it's wrong to suppose that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. A costly myth. This difference between the original and the commonly used version highlights why it's dangerous to rely on a single metric to assess how well a business is performing. That one metric can be manipulated in ways unrelated to what it's supposed to measure. This is the phenomenon described by Campbell's Law. Campbell's Law states that the more important a metric is in decision making, the more likely it is to be manipulated. In other words, when a single metric is used to determine success or failure, human beings are likely to try to optimize their behavior to improve that metric, sometimes with ridiculous or dangerous consequences. People manage the metric rather than using the metric to help manage the underlying issue. The following story was shared by a product designer working for a TV streaming subscription service. This company was highly concerned with customer retention. The longer a subscriber stayed with it, the more money it made. As a result, the company's leadership wanted to reduce subscription cancellations. The company defined saving an account as occurring if someone entered the cancellation flow but then abandoned it and didn't actually cancel their subscription. While this metric was intended to capture the ability to change consumers' minds and make them want to stay with the company, it had an unintended consequence. It incentivized the company's designers to make the cancellation process intentionally difficult. And in user testing, they observed that customers would become overwhelmed while trying to cancel their accounts online, and they'd give up. In the company's analytics metrics, this type of behavior was counted as saving an account. But the account wasn't actually saved. The customer simply called the customer service department to cancel instead. As a result, the metric looked really good, but the outcome of this farce was angrier and more annoyed customers who were not likely to return or recommend the company, higher costs because the company had to pay for the customer service calls instead of letting it happen online, and then accounts that were still eventually canceled anyway. So, how can UX professionals avoid the trap of tracking metrics that are easily abused? First, recognize that all metrics are limited. A metric is just a signal that reflects the goal or outcome you're seeking, but is not the full picture. The popular North Star framework, where a single metric is chosen as the overall health indicator for a company, can be really dangerous because it amplifies the inherent limitations of that individual metric. Second, combine metrics together to obtain a fuller understanding of the phenomena that you're trying to study. Satisfaction ratings can be a useful metric, but they can be a lot more powerful when combined with behavior metrics such as success rate. It's a lot harder to game several metrics than to game any one of them. Third, never rely on quantitative measures alone. Triangulation with qualitative data, such as the insights that come from user interviews, usability tests, field studies, and diary studies, help you to understand the nuanced consequences of design choices that might otherwise be missed entirely if you just rely on passively collected analytics data.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our UX videos, take a look at these over here, and consider subscribing to our channel. On our website, nngroup.com, you can access our free library of over 2,000 articles. You can also register for one of our UX courses that offer live, hands-on training.